Have you ever thought about the kind of video games that your children are allowed to play? When I took sociology class, I did an independent research study on the dangerous effects of these games. Research has shown that children and adolescents' behavior becomes more violent by allowing them to only play these games 2 hours a day. If you have children, you might want to think about what kind of games you are allowing them to play. Today I would like to talk to you about, first, the dangers of these games, and second, how children and teens are affected by playing these games, and third, show you a website that you can go to take action against these games. I'll begin by telling you about the dangers of these violent games. A number of researchers found that children who play these kinds of games become more violent than before they play them. Dr. Vincent Matthews, a longtime researcher of media violence at Indiana University, and his colleagues conducted some MRI brain scans in a control group who played violent games before they started, and a non-control group who didn't play these games. They took another scan after the groups played these games. They found that the group that played these violent games showed less activity in the areas of the brain that involve emotion, attention, and inhibition of impulses. After a week, the group that played the violent games was retested, and the researchers found that the activity in the brain that involved those 3 areas still had not returned to normal. The researchers are not sure just how long the negative effects that are caused by playing these games last. Part 2011. In a journal called Cognitive Technology, it states that these violent games have a harmful effect on the user, and they are found to increase aggression in the players on a consistent basis. Cognitive Technology 2007. Now that you see how dangerous these violent video games are, I will show you their effects on children and adolescents. These video games have really negative effects on children. I will show you. A lot of research has been done involving this issue, and these researchers all found adverse effects in children and adolescents caused by these games. A book called Video Games and Its Effect on Children, written by Anderson, Gentile, and Buckley, found that the rate that children and adolescents are exposed to these games had a direct relation to the levels of aggression in the children, both physical and verbal aggression, and the level of violence found in the children. Anderson, Gentile, and Buckley, 2007. Laura St. John of the Huffington Post wrote an article that stated that several of the ways that children are affected negatively by these games are: they desensitize children to violence and killing, they teach children how to kill firsthand, and they measure success through how well and how often the player kills the opponent. St. John, 2013. I am sure that you can see that the adverse effects of these games have on children. Now we will look at where you can go to find more information and what can be done about this situation. There are a few places that you can go to fight against these violent games. There's a website called lionlamb.org where you can join others against the fight of the dangers of these games. Also, it is very important to monitor the types of games that your children play. You can also go to parent-teacher association meetings to team up with the teachers of the schools your children go to and talk to other parents about the dangers of these games, to raise the awareness of other parents and teachers about the adverse effects these games have on children. As you have seen, the adverse effects of these violent games are real, and unless something is done, we will lose our children to them. I have told you about the negative effects of violent video games, their effects on children, and where to go, and what you can do to join the fight against these games. Do you really want to lose our children to the effects of these games? Imagine losing your child to these games, or to hear that one of your children had either seriously injured or killed someone because of the influence these games have had on their lives. I'm going to share just one final thought with you from the Bible. In Proverbs 23:7a, it says, "For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." King James Version, Proverbs 23:7a, no date. How long are we going to allow this poison to be poured into the minds of our children?